Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. This is a mid-week chat. Today was my first full day of vacation, and I am just really enjoying it. In fact, today I was going to take off from YouTube. I just woke up this morning. I looked at my, what do you call it? My feed. There were no responses, and I was like, I'm kind of addicted, right? I get up in the morning, I look to see if there's any responses that I need to write to. Whatever, it's all good. I didn't post any videos yesterday, and so I shouldn't expect, my videos to have more than 1 or 2 days longevity. But, you can always hope. So, DJ Trish wrote that she wrote, oh, I probably shouldn't say this right. She wrote some of the people who are on her channel that not many people are, watching her videos. And if you are subbed to DJ Trish, please go to her channel and watch one of her videos. Show her some love. If you're not subbed to DJ Trish, what I love about DJ Trish is she just goes around her neighborhood. She just films everything. And some, like the most recent video, she got into a little trouble. She got yelled at because the lady didn't want her filming her arts. And, DJ Trish was a little shocked. She was just like, yeah, I get it. I understand. And she was very apologetic. In fact, she apologized to us a few times throughout the video. But she was just like, gosh, I wish the woman would have been kinder, right? So please show DJ Trish some love. She's feeling a little underappreciated at the moment. So let's all go out there and show our support for DJ Trish. She is awesome. I'm going to start with the future, and I'm going to work my way back to the past. So I'm off work, and I have about 10 days, maybe less, maybe like a week. And then I'm taking a trip. So I'm going on a trip for like 11 days. But in that 11 days, I want to start reading. I want to read this, Dark Knight's Metal. And the only reason I'm reading this, number one, because I have it, but it leads into this weird publishing event from DC, and it was called The New Age of Heroes. And for some reason, I was getting into it. I picked up 2 of the set, and I really liked it. And so I decided to get into all of them. Now, I did get many of them, but not all of them. I'm going to show you some single issues of comics. There's about 5 or 6 different series. So this one is called the Immortal Man. I'm just going to kind of flip through them. I think I have 3 issues of that. Okay, so this one is going to be important in the Dark Knights. Oh no, I had 4. Now this one is one that I read, and wow, I was blown away. This first issue was so good. And then I read the second, and it was a total flip round. This issue was so boring. I could not believe it did not follow up. So I kind of stopped reading it, even though I got some more. And this time I'm going to push through it. I mean, I think I actually did read this one. Yeah, I did. I remember this part. But the art. Now, what they did is they got some top-notch artists and writers on these series. So I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to just flip through. I mean, come on, this is about demons. This one is kind of like Killer Be Killed, but in where Killer Be Killed is more realistic, this is very superhero comic book. Here's another one called Sideways, and I guess you can go through portals. And I mean, look at the art on these. They're just so nice. And the last one I have is this Silencer, and this was one of the ones I picked up, that Brimstone, and I picked up this one. Those are the 2 that I read, and I got this solely because it was John Romita Jr. So the art, and I'm a sucker for his art. It's just weird, quirky art. And so I showed those, and I showed this. So those were some of the single issues that I have. But I have, most of them are the first 6 issues of each set of these graphic novels. And like, for example, I don't have any of this one, The New Challengers, Mortal Man, Damage, and The Curse of Brimstone. Now, many of these have a second volume that I don't have, and so I hope by the end of the summer I can read both volumes and give you the lowdown on this publishing event. Now, what's sad about it is so much talent went into this, and I think every one of these comics folded, which is, that's a shame. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get these out of my lap. Sorry, you have to see me struggling with all this junk. A lot of moving parts. I probably should just edit all of this out. All right, next we're going to talk about some of the movies that I saw. Oh my gosh, I took pictures of all the movies, but I think I left them on my... Let me see, did I do it on my... Oh, no, I did do it on here. Okay, cool. So the first movie I watched this week was called Flamin' Hot. Now, this is the story of how Cheetos became the spicy Cheetos. And, you know, they, of course, took the industry by storm. Flamin' Hot. And this movie was a lot of fun. I'm going to say I really recommend it. It's kind of like one of those enjoyable dramas, you know, a real life kind of almost documentary style about a struggling family. You're going to enjoy it. I'm not going to say it's the best movie ever made, but it does give the story behind how Flamin' Hot Cheetos became popular and the struggle that one person went through in order to realize his dream and help his family. So I recommend it. Another movie that I watched was from that list, again, of sci-fi movies that you should watch, and it was called Splinter. I'm holding it back a little bit because it's blurry. Now, this one, again, this was another one that I'd seen, and once I started it, I went ahead and watched it because it's not a bad movie. It's very low budget. It's basically a bunch of people stuck in a room and they're being terrorized, right? Like they can't leave the room. So there's a bunch of people, they don't get along in real life and they're stuck in this gas station and there are creatures outside that are trying to get in, right? And if they get, this infects them, right? And it's kind of like the zombie thing. It turns you into one of them. Yeah, I recommend it. It's fun. I would say it's a 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. If you like horror, you should watch it. If you don't like horror, no, skip it. We watched Avatar, the first Avatar movie. Why? Because we wanted to watch the second one, and they're both on Disney Plus. So we actually started watching the second Avatar today. So we didn't finish it. I'll go into that. But here's the thing about Avatar. Avatar is a beautiful, beautiful movie, right? But the thing about it is, to me, is I love James Cameron movies. In fact, The Abyss is one of my favorites. But, you know, with many James Cameron movies, I could tell you, like, the whole story, like, what happens. So many memorable scenes are in my mind. For example, you know, Terminator, I mean, you could just go on and on at how many amazing James Cameron movies there are. But for this one, I struggled to remember even a couple. Like, I understood and I remembered the overall plot point, right? But the little things that happened in the movie, I couldn't even remember. So to me, even though Avatar is a beautiful movie, it seems like it's all fluff or icing on a cake. Watched it again, and it was almost like watching it for the first time. And I've seen Avatar at least 3 or 4 times. So it's just, it doesn't stay with you for some reason. Now, we started watching the second one today, and it's over 3 hours. And I'm just amazed at how the technology has come. Like, this movie is basically 3 hours of special effects. That's all it is. Every character in it is pretty much animated. And I don't know, it's just my mind boggles at how much they can do in these movies, like a 3 hour long extended special effect. Like I said, we didn't finish it. It's beautiful. It's just gorgeous to look at, gorgeous to watch. It takes everything that was in Avatar and it builds on it and brings in a generation. Okay, so we're gonna move on to some books that I read. Night of the Living Rez. Now, I believe this was recommended by a YouTuber. He put out like, oh, the books that you should read, and so this was one of them. Night of the Living Rez. I loved it. It's very good. Now, it is a bunch of woven stories, and it's about life on Native American reservation. It jumps to different periods in the character's life so that we get like an overview of what it's like for the different generations. There's humor in it. There's a lot of tragedy. It's, a lot of poverty, drug addiction, just day-to-day trying to survive, of course, racism. It's very, very good. Now, here's an artist picture of like an early scene from the book. Like, right, this is a jar of teeth. I just wanted to show that because I just like that drawing, that comic, that kind of comic style drawing of it. I won't spoil anything, but except a little bit at the very beginning, I like to give you an example. One character is walking down the street and he's trying to, score drugs or something. And he comes across his other friend who is addicted, and he fell asleep in the snow. And he was actually moaning and groaning, and he was like off in a ditch. And so the main character hears him and goes over to him, like into the ditch. And the guy fell asleep, and his hair was like frozen into the snow, and he couldn't get out. And he did not want his hair cut off, to get him out. So I mean, it's a sad story, but I was laughing. I mean, that's the kind of humor you're gonna get. You're gonna get some dark humor in this. So if that is enticing to you, people waking up with their hair frozen in the snow, then I guess you're gonna like this book. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I did like how the stories would jump. This was almost like a novel that jumped through different periods of time in a person's life. The stories were that interconnected. I think I came to the end of using my iPad. So we're gonna make a shift. So today I was listening to this album a lot. Of course, this is just a classic album. I don't know why. I was just in the mood, and I listened to this at least 4 times maybe. Now, what I'm going to say is I must have listened to this on album because I know side 1 so much better than side 2. Although oh no, that's not true. I know Get Down, Make Love. Maybe that's where it stops. Sleeping on the Sidewalk, Who Needs You, It's Late. Those, I think after Get Down, Make Love, I was less familiar with the songs, and I was kind of surprised. Maybe when I was young, I just always listened to side 1 over and over again. Weird. But anyways, it was fun reconnecting with this album. I probably haven't listened to it in a very long time. I'm building up a little bit of a collection. I got today, when we were done with Avatar. Oh, that's right. We actually didn't finish Avatar. We have like 40 minutes left. My husband was getting tired because it is very long. And so we're going to finish it tonight. But anyways, after I came out from watching, this CD was waiting for me. Now, this is the second Art Pepper set that I got. Now, I wanted this one because the Pressing Matters. That's it. See, when my brain is fresh, I can remember things. The Pressing Matters I believe, reviewed this because it was reprinted on vinyl. Okay, or reprinted. What do you call that? There was a new edition of it. And this one recently, and it was reprinted, but this one, like maybe a year or two ago, and it's already very difficult to find. So I wanted to listen to both of those, and of course I didn't want to buy the album because I'm too cheap to spend $40 per album. And like I said, that would have been $80, and this was like $22, right? I think I paid $11 for each. Now, one commenter, rightly so, he said, when you buy these budget CDs, they don't take as much care with the sound quality. And you know what? That's probably absolutely true. I'm of the mind where I'm just happy to have these. I listen to this kind of music a lot as background music. So it's not like I'm focusing on it and listening. I know that's not a really good way to explain like music, but for me, like I read or I do other things, and I put on like instrumental music. And so if the sound quality isn't stellar, that is okay with me, although probably subpar should never be okay. And since I've never heard it in any other format, I don't know what I'm missing. Is that a controversial thing to say? I don't know. What do you think about that? I don't know. Okay. And this week, I have been listening to this more. And I've been listening to these two, right? Especially the West Side Story. I actually need to do a little bit mini review because the Pressing Matter also, he recommended this one, which was also what? It's not reprinted on vinyl. What is it? Oh, okay. So now I'm forgetting what the term is when they republish it on vinyl. When they reprint it, republish. What's the word? I can't think of it. So this one was recently reprinted, and there's a new version of it out, and it is very nice. I really, really like it. And then I went ahead and I ordered this, even though I have two of these on vinyl. I'm just a sucker for these. I love these little paper sleeves. I love them. So yeah, I have this one on vinyl, and I have that one. Ooh, I don't think I have this one. I would like to have this one on vinyl. Maybe I do. I'm not sure. If I find a new Billie Holiday and it's not too expensive, hers usually are around $20. I usually buy it. All right, so those are my CD purchases and what I've been listening to. So we are going to talk about three more things, and the one thing is going to lead into the other. I thought this out. I have a really nice transition going on. So let me go ahead and put these down. So Ben Rankins was like, "Hey, I want some controversy. You're boring." No, he didn't say that. But controversy is fun. So I have two kind of controversial issues to talk with you about today. About two controversial topics to talk about with you today. Hey, I got it out. The first one is, I kind of teased this one. All right, when I talked about this recording, which is John Luther Adams' Become Ocean, this one won the Pulitzer Prize for Music. Now, the Pulitzer Prize for Music is very elitist in a way. It only recognizes classical music. And, classical music is not really for the masses anymore. It is a very, what would I say? It's a very small or select, or in some ways elite group of people. And so the controversy is that the Pulitzer Prize for Music is very elitist. And so they decided for some reason to open it up. And then Kendrick Lamar won it. I'm not sure if he was the first one to win it that wasn't classical music. And so the big controversy is, now that it's open to all types of music, well then, how are these going to be recognized? There's no real major prize to recognize symphonic music. Maybe there's a Grammy category, right? And so the Pulitzer Prize for music filled a kind of niche, because I don't think I would have heard this if it hadn't won the Pulitzer Prize. And look at that gorgeous cover. I'm just holding this up because it's better than to look at this than at this, right? I should just talk like this. Yeah, what a beautiful cover that is. And so that's the controversy, right? Kendrick Lamar, does he need the publicity? Of course, it's amazing to win prizes, right? But he's a popular musical artist who gets played on the radio. And so that's the controversy. Not that Kendrick Lamar doesn't deserve a prize. I actually listened to his album, the most recent one, after he won the Pulitzer Prize, and I followed a podcast that broke each song down and explained it. And I know, right? I needed that because I don't follow rap music too much, and I wanted to know, okay, well, why does this album deserve to win the Pulitzer Prize? And so it was an interesting journey. I followed that album, like I was with that album for at least a couple weeks, listening to it over and over again, listening to the explanations. I grew to really like that album by Kendrick Lamar. So that's the controversy, right? But the year that Kendrick Lamar won, someone in the classical music field did not get a mention. So that person's sales didn't go up. It didn't generate activity around classical music like it normally does. And so I know if you don't like classical music, you could be like, well, who cares? But that's the whole controversy in a nutshell. So what do you think about that? There's an easy fix, right? They could just have two categories. There could be a classical music category, and then there could be a popular music category. But then it becomes like the Grammys. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is to that. Okay, so the next controversy is that Disney censored The French Connection. And this one is actually kind of troublesome, right? And so Disney, I guess, bought the Warner Brothers library. And so they have all of their films. And there's, okay, so the main character of The French Connection, if you haven't seen it, is a very like corrupt cop, right? And so this movie won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Gene Hackman won Best Actor. In fact, the controversy is the language in it. So the cop is very racist and he uses racial slurs. Now, the problem is people will equate this movie as being racist when there's a racist character in it. The movie is not racist because it tries to show a real character in the way that character would speak. And so Disney cut out scenes, like chunks, where he was spewing racial hatred. And so they posted that on, they put it on their platform. So now it's edited, right? You can't watch that version. And by the way, since they did this, the sales of The French Connection shot through the roof because people want to own the original that's not edited. Because what did Disney do? It's not a problem that they just put it on their own streaming platform or whatever, and it's edited. There was a showing of The French Connection in Santa Monica, I believe, and it was the edited version. They showed it, this major film, and they showed it to a film-loving audience, and it was cut. I was like shocked when I heard that. So their version could go onto the next, home media physical copy if they even put out any anymore. But since people stream now, they're only going to see the edited version of the movie. And again, they want to save younger, like if the movie is on Disney platform and they cater to young people. They don't want young people exposed, or they don't want their company tarnished. I don't know. But this is, I think, a real problem, right? Because physical media is pretty much going. And these companies can take a piece of art and change it for how people are in the moment now. It shocks me, and it'll be forever changed unless, I don't know. Like, of course we have extant copies, right? But I don't know. But this is just really concerning to me, right? And that's what's going to lead me into, I mean, because if they can do it with this movie, they can do it with any movie, right? They can do it with any art form. And that's going to lead me into my final piece tonight. And that is Cormac McCarthy died. So my friend wrote to me that, Cormac McCarthy died. We're both big fans of his. In fact, she introduced me to him through this book. I read this book. I struggled with it. I was very young when I read it. Well, not very young. I was young as in like 20. This is a difficult book. But it's so worth it. It's probably one of the best American novels written. This guy is a giant of American literature, and he deserves to be remembered that way. And so, yes, he died, and it's very sad. But this book is about violence and racism and cruelty and using what's going on in a country to justify your barbarism and your lust and your depravity and your cruelty and your lust for killing. He painted barbarity, and he just shows it. He doesn't explain it. He just shows it the way it is and how it can play out. This book is brilliant, but it is not for everyone, and it is not an easy read. Now, he is also very famous for All the Pretty Horses. So I have this, it's called the Border Trilogy. My first one was All the Pretty Horses and starred Matt Damon. I think it also won some Academy Awards. This one is way more accessible, right? He's written so many good books. And in fact, he just wrote a pair of books. They came out at the same time. And unfortunately, I haven't read either one, to my shame. And now he's died. Now I was looking up how many books I've actually read by him, and I think it's about 6, at least 5. So I was going through them all. But of all of them, this is absolutely the best. Now, how does that tie into this? This is about racism. There are racial slurs throughout this entire book. So who's to say a publishing company is going to be like, oh, we're just going to edit all of that out. We don't want any of that, in our bookstores. Or I don't know. Like, if Disney can do it with movies, I don't see why it couldn't be done with books. But then again, there have been book burnings forever. But the thing of it is, I really think literature will kind of be untouchable. Why? Because not many people read. And so many more people stream. That's what people do now. And so even though I'm bringing this up, this is an amazing piece of American literature that should never be touched. It's not racist. It shows racism, and there's a huge difference, right? And so, but you just wonder, will things like this, kind of be edited or outlawed in the future? Anyways, with everything going on in the country about statutes, I know there's different reasons and, that kind of thing, but it's scary that Disney would just edit something and it's becoming the version that people see. So there you have it. Now, I'm going to end my chat today. Oh, I went on a little too long, right? It's already 29 minutes. You might want to turn this off now, but I'm going to end by reading you one paragraph. If you've never read him, at least you'll be exposed. I sound a little patronizing. Okay, sorry about that. Maybe you'll hear me reading this and you'll think, wow, I'd like to check Cormac McCarthy out. Now, maybe not start with this book because it is a very difficult read. Maybe start with All the Pretty Horses. Or, oh, I forgot, No Country for Old Men. That one won the Academy Award. So, yeah, that one also, yeah. So that's another very famous book by Cormac McCarthy. All right, here we go. A man seeks his own destiny and no other, said the judge, will or nil. Any man who could discover his own fate and elect therefore some opposite course could only come at last to that self-same reckoning at the same appointed time. For each man's destiny is as large as the world he inhabits and contains within it all opposites as well. The desert upon which so many have been broken is vast and calls for largeness of heart, but it is also ultimately empty. It is hard, it is barren, its very nature is stone. So I picked that because I think it's one of the major themes of the book. I'm going to say thank you for all your support. Don't forget to reach out to DJ Trish and show her some love.